Welcome to episode 18 of A Very Adventure Vodcast.
This week we're going to be talking about season 4.2, episode 6, called The Silent Partners. Or maybe a better name for this episode would be Sphinx. I don't think it works if we both do the accent part.
At the same time.
Sphinx. Perfect.
Okay. Since we're like a few weeks behind in recording, or took a little bit of a break, much needed break, that joke is probably dead and buried now, but we're still enjoying it.
Yeah, you know.
Anyway, we wanted to give our standard disclaimer that if you haven't seen any of season 4, and really, to be, super safe, seasons 1 through 3, I would go and watch that first, because we will be spoiling, not always on purpose, but, we want to cover ourselves. So.
We will be talking about the episode and things that happened.
Great detail, so.
Probably too much, but.
Way too much.
This episode was written by Doc Hammer, and it's just, the title is not a joke or a reference or anything, it's just Silent Partners.
So in our first thread, there's it's really one main storyline, but there were kind of like 3 little threads, but we start off in St. Sebastian's Medical Center, where Billy is being a faux doctor, or a faux surgeon, Dr. Donahue, illegally, and very successfully. Just surprising.
Well, it makes me wonder, how did he get trained as a doctor in the first place?
I know.
Like, he has just, he's super smart, so he just knows what to do? He read a book?
Apparently I think it might be that his mechanical hand gives him, super medical powers, but,
hand brains? What is that?
Or lets him do very fine surgery, but how did he get that in the first place?
How did he learn what to do in surgery? Because he's a boy genius?
Yeah, so he doesn't have any actual papers, so, yeah.
Yeah. So, when the doctor confronts him about not being a doctor, he goes and hides in a hospital room. Turns out he's in the same room as King Gorilla, who's on his deathbed, and the Silent Partners show up, and there's these spooky, pinstripey villain types. We've never seen them before. And they're just kind of, lurking around. Yeah,
they're very much like in the Buffy episode, Hush. It's really super scary. You haven't seen that one?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, it's when they're gliding around and the whole episode is silent. Mm-hmm. And they don't speak, or the partners don't speak either, so it really reminded me of them. And since there's a Buffy reference later, I was like, maybe.
Yeah, that's true, the spike. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Billy witnesses them pulling out King Gorilla's heart. And
everyday stuff.
After he yells, "A deal is a deal," and it kills him, obviously, because he has no heart. So, bye, King Gorilla.
I know. We hardly knew ye.
I heard that you were sick. I'm sorry.
Maybe, I don't know. I guess
he was in the slammer with the mod.
There's only so many sexual deviants you can really have in one show.
Yeah,
and,
you know.
Maybe it was good to let him go while you were still fond of him.
Yeah, before it got weird.
Like another Moppet situation.
I'm ready.
So when Billy is spotted by the partners, he hauls ass out of there. And it actually turns out when he goes to, shrilly scream at White, which seems to happen every other episode.
That's how they communicate.
Pretty much. White isn't ignoring him, and he's just which makes you think that Billy must be always screaming about, we're out of Pringles! Or whatever.
Yeah.
So Billy's, freaking out. And it turns out they actually know those guys, and those are the investors that have been giving Conjectural Technologies, all of its funds. Which is...
Well, okay. So Billy and White spend, this $10 million investment.
Yeah.
Which they're getting in $50,000 increments.
A week. Yeah.
And they're spending them on spelunking gear and a dune buggy and a pool table. Most mysterious of all, a secret lab. Which we're we totally want to see this secret lab. Desperately. Also, who can forget Robo-Bo, the Dukes of Hazzard manservant robot.
Where did that come from?
And I love that White was I told you I was going to get him. And he was when did we have that discussion? And he's I ask you which Dukes of Hazzard character you like better. And you said Bo.
I am forgetting the Tron vehicle, which I'm assuming wasn't free either. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, funnily enough, Billy thinks that he's convinced that the trio are vampires. And, I mean, like, why not in their world? Like, it's not really... I don't know why White's making it seem like it's impossible, because...
It's not very far-fetched.
It's really not.
Weirder stuff has happened.
Like a giant gorilla who had his heart ripped out.
And talks. And smokes cigs.
So, Billy, like, the vampire guys, quote-unquote, come a-knocking. And so Billy runs outside, like, to, you know, deal with it and to, like, give them back their money, which I don't even know how that's possible. But he makes White promise that if he, like, disappears, that he'll come save him from being vamped.
So, while this is going on, another thread is happening. White, to his credit, actually freaks out when Billy is kidnapped.
Yeah. And
he runs to Sphinx for help. And he offers to pay $50,000 to help him rescue Billy.
Yeah.
From the vampires. But they say no. They're like, no.
So Hunter explains what Sphinx does. Thank you. Pretty much in a nutshell, which is, if someone points a gun at you, you call the police. If a bunch of guys are pointing guns at you, you call SWAT. If it's a bunch of guys in spandex pointing a super laser at you, you call OSI. And if they're dressed regular and they're pointing a super laser at your daughter, that's when you call Sphinx.
Sphinx. Yeah. Which is great. I mean, that's such a good description of them. And we're still a little fuzzy about Sphinx, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's still a little up in the air,
Like,
not gonna lie.
I kind of get that.
Well, and, okay, so they're like, he said, like, we take the jobs that nobody else wants to take. And, like, so, if it's, like, just the craziest stuff that you couldn't believe ever could happen, that's, like, a job for Sphinx.
Or, like...
Who you gonna call?
Is it... I think it's unauthorized.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's outside of the guild.
But they're doing... It's, like, Robin Hood-esque, because they're helping people instead of...
Yeah, Sphinxes.
Mercenaries.
Right.
Which they say they're not mercenaries. Although, he also says, all we need are alibis and body bags. So...
Which is, if it's not on their crest, it should be.
I know.
Anyway.
So, also, side note, we really enjoyed the thought of Doc Hammer in the recording studio just going, Sphinx! Like,
Sphinx.
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 Like, in all the different, yeah.
Yeah, pitches and tones.
So, when Hunter actually sees the check that White's, like, waving around, which is the last check they got from the vampires, hand this furiously off screen, he kind of changes his tune immediately, and apparently Sphinx has been after the investors, as they call them, since, like, every other investee, if that's what you call them, I doubt it, has been murdered.
Yeah. He said, like, he's the only one that's lived long enough to complain about them or something. So, and then, so hopping back to thread 2, we realize, oh crap, the investors/vampires are working on behalf of Monstroso,
Right.
A lawyer with Mammoth Corporation, and a supervillain licensed with the Guild.
He's the one that you made fun of for pausing to put on his little red hat before he got down to villainy. Like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Villain hat.
Ready.
So in Pinstripes and Poltergeist, he was both hired and tried to double-cross the Monarch through legal means. It was...
Super sneaky.
Yeah, like... corporate takeover.
So according to him, he talks to Billy or confronts Billy after Billy wakes up, and he tells Billy that the investors make dreams come true for a price. So Monstroso, is complimenting Billy on being, like, this super, amazing surgeon, despite the fact he doesn't have any, medical degree.
Credentials,
yeah. And he pretty much tells him, pretty much point blank, that he can't leave forever, ever.
Forever, ever?
Forever, ever. So he pretty much has to suck it up and accept the investor's real gift of immortality. Dun, dun, dun.
Which also kicks off thread 3.
Just my favorite.
The tension between White and Billy.
Feelings.
As Monstroso points out, White is a lazy albino who lives off Billy's accomplishments.
I mean, White is not that great of a guy, but does that matter?
No. He has good hair. And 80s clothing. So, like...
So we're in love. Okay,
yeah.
so, however, back in thread 2, you see White actually, you know, seeming remorseful about Billy getting kidnapped by vampires.
Yeah. He seems sad.
When he mournfully tells Shore Leave, it should have been me. And then followed, however, and amazingly by, I have that Malfoy Spike thing going on.
He was like, no, really, it should have been me.
I look way more like a vampire than Billy.
He does.
Which Shore Leave's just like,
But we loved the Harry Potter / Buffy the Vampire Slayer reference. It was super nerdy.
It was like love/love.
Yes. Those are like Marily's 2 loves also in the world.
If it was, well, we got the Snape one last week, remember?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, it's just amazing for Slytherin right now.
Suffers forever.
Anyway.
Harry Potter is tomorrow!
I know. The more we're recording. So.
We just gave away what day it is.
Oh, no.
Sphinx. So, also, White and Shore Leave seem to be getting along, which is ish. It's a relief from Every Which Way But Zeus when they weren't getting along at all.
Yeah.
Also, he still seems convinced that White's gay. The whole, like, yeah, friend.
You think that Shirley would have better gaydar, but maybe not.
Well, it's like because he does have gaydar, he's like, all you straighties are walking around thinking they're just friends, and I'm all in the know.
But, I mean, I really do think that they're heterosexual. I think they're both too clueless to be.
But I think what he's really commenting on is that, like, even they don't realize that they're gay for each other.
That kind of makes sense. So, White gets, like, shuttled off to a safe house, which I love happens just to be the Venture Compound's panic room, with Sergeant Hatred with a gun. With, like, the boys, who are, like, the only glimpse of the Venture family we see, like, in the window, like, looking at them.
Oh, yeah.
And
I was like, we saw the boys?
Yeah.
For, like, 2 seconds.
Briefly.
In the window.
And so he's practically being tortured by Sergeant Hatred. He's like, look at this growth on my foot. Also, I want to bust out my guitar and sing about Princess Tiny Feet, like, improv songs. My favorite part of which was when he called her his Apache flower.
It was good. I actually liked the song, the second song, the one that's a little more lively. It was kind of like Dashboard Confessional, sung by Chris McCulloch. Yes. That's right. That was good for me.
Okay.
So, Sphinx goes to Spider Skull Island, which, side note, we hear was actually named by James Urbaniak. So, we thought that was kind of cool.
Like he coined the term.
Spider Skull Island.
Yeah.
So, okay. So they want to borrow the X2, but Jonas has taken it up
to heaven.
To heaven, also known as space. Gargantua 2. Which either means they didn't want to write for him this season, or the mentions have been leading up to something big in the finale.
What do you guys think?
I mean, it's
what
about prom.
The finale?
Of course, there's going to be like 9 threads going on at the same time.
And it's an hour. But I just... Do you think that... to me, it could be either way. Either it's just like a really cool lead-up because they've just mentioned it randomly throughout the show.
Yeah.
Or more likely they were just like, my God, I don't want to do it.
I'm sick of him.
I don't want to write for Jonas.
No.
Throw him up into space.
Goodbye.
Well, it turns out that Spider Skull Island is now its like own independent country.
They incorporated.
And so weirdly enough, like alcohol and cigarettes are not allowed. However, pot and gay marriage is a big thumbs up.
They grow their own pot and the gays can get married.
So I smell a plot point down the road.
That's true. Also, Shore Leave is like, I'm retiring here.
And when I say plot point, I don't mean about the gay marriage and the pot. I mean about the fact that it's its own independent country.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Someone can like take asylum there, or like... They can declare...
I could see that being pulled into, like, another thread, but...
Yeah. They're leaving it open. They like to do that. So we get to see the pirate captain again. He's back on his boat, and he's wearing his little outfit.
Double yay!
And he offers to help Sphinx with his pirate ship, which is an almost brigantine ship, but it only has 1 mast, and apparently it's made mostly out of a theme park ride. Yeah. So... It's not really... a brigantine is a 2-masted ship that has oars and sails.
Yes, it is.
Says my notes.
So,
I just knew that. Duh.
I just knew that.
Duh. You didn't know that?
So,